Well, hello, everyone. I give you a little bit of background. So Urban Salvaged and Reclaimed Woods is a nonprofit network that formally incorporated in 2017 as a 501c3. Although we've been informally networking together since the late 90s, early 2000s. And as I go through the webinar, you'll hear me refer to this organization as USRW as we move forward. And so, give you a little more background of who I am and kind of why I do this. So my company, Far West, is in the urban lumber field, and we've been working in forestry for my whole life, so family business. And although we didn't realize we were really working in the urban lumber field until in the late 90s, I started to analyze what it was that really made our company different. And so, for a marketing campaign that I was working on. And so I started really looking at it and going, boy, I think that the biggest thing that makes us different is what the source of our wood is. And so much of it is coming from an urban environment. It's urban, it's salvaged, or it's reclaimed, and that's the bulk of our business. And so, also, I'll give you a little more background. Our company represents Wood-Mizer products, which was made in the 80s, so it wasn't really an option for urban lumber before then. But Wood-Mizer, we represent Wood-Mizer, and they generously became a sponsor of USRW once we formally networked. But they've been supporting us throughout the whole movement. So back in the early 2000s, I wanted to do my first ever urban lumber event. And so I partnered with Sam Sherrill, and who Katie had mentioned before, and I knew that there were a lot of misconceptions about urban lumber's value and the profitability of a sawmill business, utilizing this wood as this wood source for profit due to inconsistent supply, hardware in the wood, blades costs could be higher. And so I really wanted to help change those misconceptions and show that this could be profitable and help people learn how to make their business more profitable. And so I've been doing that. We've been informally networking for the last 20 years. One of our big champions has been CAL FIRE. They've been supporting us. And then once we formally networked in 2017, that was funded by a grant from CAL FIRE funded with U.S. Forest Service funds. And currently, we're funded through membership and through another CAL FIRE grant through Prop 68 out of California. And so they've been very, very good cheerleaders, very good supporters. So one of the things that we've been able to do all along, and even more so once we formally networked, was to really form strategic partnerships. A more structured approach to our strategic partnerships, I should say, and really to find new partners as well with a very strategic approach to marketing our concept to the public and just bringing awareness to this amazing wood source, helping all of the consumers to know that they don't have to feel guilty about using wood and educating them on the amazing carbon storage benefits of using wood. And that urban wood is another carbon storing benefit, and it shouldn't be considered part of the waste stream, but it should be considered an asset. And some of those benefits are the aesthetic beauty of the urban woods, the environmental benefits, the emotional benefits, and the small businesses, it can have actually an economic benefit. So one of the strategic partners that we have really begun to align ourselves with as USRW is the Urban Wood Network. This alignment, as we're aligning, it's helping us to streamline the urban lumber movement across the nation and into Canada. One of the things that we realized is USRW is doing this out here, Urban Wood Networks in the Midwest doing their thing. We had a group down in Virginia doing their thing. And so across the nation, we realized we had a lot of, there wasn't a lot of continuity between the groups. And there was some issues with nomenclature. There's a group up in Baltimore, and they were using terms that we weren't familiar with, and we're using terms they aren't familiar with. And so just kind of bringing that all together, we USRW has now partnered with the Urban Wood Network, an international urban wood effort to form collaborative, connect, build community, build businesses, and build consumer confidence in the urban wood industry. The Urban Wood Network is working with USRW to finalize the standards, which I'm going to bring up next, and the chain of custody standards, so that we're really all playing from the same playbook, and so that urban wood doesn't mean different things in different corners of the world, that processes can be standardized, and so that consumers can feel confident that when they're purchasing urban wood, that they know that the people who are using what we're going to call USRW certified woods are processing it to certain standards, that they're drying it, that they're sterilizing it, or that they're proclaiming, that they're disclosing all of the steps that they've taken, so that consumers can really gain a confidence into using this wood. There have been some misconceptions that urban wood is is a lot of small one-off companies that may not have the highest standards. And so this standards, this chain of custody program that we're working on is really going to help soften that, or help educate and give them confidence, I guess I should say. So we literally met last week for our first alignment meeting, and there will be a lot more to discuss on how we continue to align ourselves. But that is definitely going to be happening, so stay tuned for more of that. And looking to the future, one of the things that we wanted to figure out are what's next to really scale your urban lumber business. And so we thought, just after 2 years of formally forming the USRW network, we realized that we needed some formal standards. There's so many processes that can be streamlined, so many differences in nomenclature. Every urban wood professional is really having to start from scratch, maybe not knowing what they need to do. And so we're just helping them build that. And at the same time, those of us who've really been at it a while, we're wanting to scale our business and just take it to the next level and get our wood products into mid-sized lumber stores. They can have an urban lumber corner in their stores. And more importantly, to have a broader reach is to get it specified by architects, builders, designers, to get it called out. And every time I've presented that idea to these stores, to these architects of specifying this or adding a corner to their store, I've been answered with, "Boy, Jennifer, that is a great idea. It's truly amazing benefit for the environment, etc." But, and there's always that but, isn't there? But we need an actual certification, not just your self-certification that verifies your chain of custody and ensures these things that you're stating, but we need standards in regards to drying, grading, processing, sterilization, chain of custody, why was it removed, etc. We need to know what you're certifying to, and how will we know that we can get enough urban wood if we do specify it? What are you working on in regards to that? And so we began to write the standards, standards that include chain of custody and certification. So if you go to our website, urbansalvagedwoods.com, and then you go to our blog and educational information, you're going to be able to see an explanation of the standards, what they're for, what their intent is. You'll see an announcement of the standards, that they're out for public review. There's a form that allowed for feedback, but that has closed. So the draft that's out there is what was put out for a 60-day review. Now we have received all that feedback. We got feedback from across the nation and up into Canada, and we are taking that feedback and we're really making some good changes. One of the things that we knew we needed to do was create a standardization process for companies to adhere to become certified for the company, and then to get the actual wood certified by following just real basic industry processes and procedures, tracking where the wood came from, why it was removed, the distance it traveled, location of removal, and capturing how much carbon is sequestered in that wood, so that we're able to provide some numbers, so that we're able to give data back of this is how much carbon we're estimating is emitted during the processing, and here's how much carbon is estimated that we're sequestering by turning this into a beautiful wood product. We've partnered with Katie Fernholz of Dovetail Partners, who you just heard, and she has helped us develop Appendix A to the standards, which really shows how we align well with other well-respected existing standards and certification programs on the market, such as FSC, SFI, PEFC, and USGBC's LEED. We've gotten great feedback on the glossary editions, as well as process flow concepts that encompass processes that our partners up in Canada and the Midwest and on the East Coast are using, so it's not just a West Coast thing. So some of the changes that we'll be incorporating is simplifying the processes for those recovering larger tracts of trees to ensure that the process isn't burdensome, but that it also maintains integrity. And so we're bringing in experts to really help with that. We'll be adding a larger tree replanting component and just making sure that every time trees are needing to come out, that we're just making sure that more trees are going in their place, the right tree in the right place at the right time. We'll be adding templates and examples to make it easier to manually track the data. And we've partnered with West Coast Arborists, and they're working on, there's a template in the draft, but they're working to just really refine it and adding some case studies in for urban wood processing to be added into municipalities' urban forest management plans. And that part has a very strong tree replanting component to it as well. We partnered with UWN all along, even before we really started to connect with them on more of a formal manner. We've been partnering with them to gain a consensus of grading and drawing standards for urban wood and how they might differ from the traditional wood industry and how they might align with it, including an urban wood grade, mill run grade, etc. But we have added a scorecard, which we know won't have a lot of significance at first, but in the next 3 to 5 years, as we really begin to scale this and as certified urban woods become a mainstreamed concept in the world of building, architecture, and design, that score, that certification level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's going to gain significance. So we're building that in now so that that can scale as this venture starts to grow. We're going to have a third-party auditing and certification to verify integrity. And USRW certified woods and USRW certified companies, we're working on getting some new logos in there. Right now it's pretty whimsical, as you can see. It's more fun. You know, we were targeting a lot of makers, but we're going to be working on that just to give it a lot more credibility and security that this is a good, stable product. At the end of the day, we can keep working on our small businesses and, doing our thing and not get on the certification wagon. But as you know, America's becoming more and more urbanized each year. People are moving more into these urban areas, and that means we need to really take our urban forests way more seriously as a resource beyond their natural life, providing all the amazing benefits that they do, and start thinking, boy, how do we plant our trees? Do we consider planting a portion of our trees with a higher wood value at the end of their natural life? What would be the pros of that? What would be the cons of that? Just really looking at into the future and going, okay, what do we do next to make sure that this doesn't go the wrong direction and that it continues to be a good, positive thing that the urban lumber movement does. And as we look to all of this, USRW certified woods and the whole chain of custody standard, one of the things that I hear back from small businesses is they're excited, and then they go, oh wait, now I'm scared. What's this going to cost, and how am I going to be able to track all of this? I don't want a stack of paperwork a mile high to be able to follow your certification or the urban lumber certification, but what we tell them is most of the leading urban wood businesses are tracking data anyways, and we're tracking it manually now, and it's a lot of work. So we want to make sure that making this simple and easy, that's one of our primary goals. And one of the things that my urban wood business, Far West Forest Products, has been looking into is an inventory management system that tells the whole backstory of our wood products, that allows for all of those one-offs that are very specific to just our industry, that capture and record the cookies, the timbers, the turning blocks, veneer, dimensional lumber, live edge slabs, live edge lumber, all in one place, that really just tracks all of that, that tracks how much carbon is being sequestered, how much carbon is being emitted from our processing, et cetera. And so in investigating that, we have some exciting new, there is some exciting new technology coming out in 2020. These woods are going to be very easily certified by Ancestry. So we don't want to be doing this manually. So along this path of the certification and the standards, I've been working with an expert team of developers and customer experience specialists to build out Ancestry. Ancestry is a certification component of an inventory management system, an enterprise application that's going to allow users to easily manage their inventory and generally better manage and grow their urban lumber businesses. The system is going to easily allow users to maintain their inventory, track the backstory of their inventory, whether that's a special heirloom tree or simply just a city, normal city tree removal, for whatever reason that the arborist determined. The data will be very easily trackable, more easily trackable than what we're using now. It's going to be an app that's designed to work on both Android and iOS. You can use it in the field when you're not online. It's going to allow you to use functions on your mobile device, your camera, your GPS, so you'll know how close, to the final use that product traveled. You'll be able to track all of that. And different points values will be given. If it's able to stay in the same community where it was salvaged, there'll be definite benefits to that. Ancestry will be able to tell you when a certification level has been met, when a product will be dry, whether it has been sterilized, the reasons for the removal, all of that. It'll be an app. I already mentioned that. So we know it's a lot more expensive to build an app. So it's taking a little bit of time, but we're coming out in 2020 with this. It's going to be fast, reliable, and responsive. It's going to have, in one of the phases, probably not the first phase, it's going to have invoicing and estimating, including a feature to tie into your accounting program, e-commerce and point-of-sale solutions for your website, and there'll be a marketplace where you're able to aggregate your inventories, which will be a big deal for those architects. Remember when they were real concerned about, boy, if we call out urban lumber, if we specify it, how do we know we're going to be able to get it? So all of the different users of this app of urban wood from around the globe are going to be able to put their product in, so the architects will be able to specify size, quantities, color, location. If they really want to play up that buy local, they'll be able to do all that. It's going to have a carbon tracking component, which is going to be a huge benefit to the industry. We're going to be able to quantify how much we're diverting as an industry. You'll be able to track your custom sawing jobs, digitally sign contracts, invoice your clients, all of that, and show your client how much carbon, what the environmental benefits are by the carbon. So anyways, that is what we're working on. It looks like I'm almost out of time here. So all of that's coming out. If you guys want to connect with us, we do have Urban Salvage Woods has a Facebook page. We have the Urban Lumber Movement. If you want to share ideas on what's going on, that's a private group on Facebook. And we have an Instagram page, Urban Salvaged Woods, as well. And if you use the hashtag Urban Wood Movement and hashtag Urban Lumber Movement, we're happy to share what everyone else may be doing around the nation. And so stay tuned. Carrie Devine has put on there the urbanwoodnetwork.org. That's the organization we're aligning with. It looks like I'm out of time, so I will turn it back over to Phil. Thank you very much for your attention.